Top 10 Small Towns in Canada. You're never too far from some amazing natural scenery in Canada, whether it be the tranquility of the Great Lakes or the awesome spectacle of the Canadian Rockies. It's home to national parks, emerald islands, and long highways ripe for road tripping into the wilderness. 10. Summerside, Prince Edward Island. Incorporated as a town in 1877, Summerside seems to have the perfect name to reflect the nature of the town itself. Though relatively small, this is Prince Edward Island's second largest city, and as such there's a lot to do here. The harborfront boardwalk with its seaside charm is a good place to eat, drink, shop, and see plays, at the Harborfront Theatre, that is. 9. Dawson City, Yukon. A real gold rush town, Dawson City was founded at a First Nations camp in 1897 as a result of the Klondike Gold Rush, and quickly grew into a city of over 40,000 inhabitants, all eager for gold. Smaller now, historic Dawson City still brings in visitors. The Dawson Historical Complex refers to the quaint 19th-century center of town. In fact, all new buildings have to comply with visual standards conforming to that 19th-century look to keep it looking pretty. 8. Nipawa, Manitoba. Known as Manitoba's most beautiful town, Nipawa was first settled in 1877. Like many places in Canada, the land was in use long before Europeans arrived. Nipawa meaning, land of plenty, in the Cree language. Today there are many historic buildings to admire. The Margaret Lawrence Home, where the Canadian novelist grew up, and the iconic Roxy Theatre Nipawa, built in 1906, still in use today for events and current films. Curiously, it is the self-appointed lily capital of the world. 2,000 types of lily are grown in Nipawa, and sees 12,000 visitors each year to its July Lily Festival. 7. Goderich, Ontario. Founded in 1828, and named after the British Prime Minister at the time, this town is proud of its aesthetics. Its motto appears to be, Canada's prettiest town, plus it has won awards in different categories of the Communities in Bloom competition. It is claimed that Queen Elizabeth II called this the prettiest town in Canada, though there's no record of any reigning monarch having visited. 6. Banff, Alberta. Tiny Banff grew up around the hot springs that were discovered here by railway workers in 1883. The Cave and Basin Hot Springs, now closed, are the first hot springs created here when the town was advertised internationally as a spa resort. Today Banff is a busy and commercial town where you can pause for a couple of days to stock up on supplies before you explore Banff National Park. The luxury 19th-century Banff Springs Hotel is the place to stay, one of Canada's famous Grand Railway hotels. More like a chateau than a hotel, it's truly magnificent. 5. Brigus, Newfoundland and Labrador. This little fishing village dates back to around 1612, when first governor of Newfoundland colony John Guy sold half the bay to the Sprackland family. Now it's known for being particularly scenic, of course, as well as being full of interesting places. These include the 19th-century Convent of Mercy, built for Irish nuns, St. George's Anglican Church, and the Brigus Tunnel, hewn through solid rock to get to a deep-water harbor. 4. St. Andrews by the Sea, New Brunswick. Officially St. Andrews, this town received its by the sea nickname because, well, it's by the sea. The Ross Memorial Museum, for instance, is a perfect example of a 19th-century abode, filled with exquisite furniture. Many buildings feature vibrant, colorful murals. Aside from the architecture, whale watching is a big draw to this seaside town. 3. Bay St. Paul, Quebec. Believe it or not, one claim to fame that this Quebecois town has is that the Cirque du Soleil was founded here in 1984. Another less fun claim is the prominence Bay St. Paul gained when Dr. Philippe Louis François Baudrillard named a disease he was studying after the town in the 1770s. But apart from this, its narrow streets lined with boutiques and art galleries, plus historical landmarks like the 1714 Église de Saint-Pierre at St. Paul, make this a particularly pretty place to be. 2. Peggys Cove, Nova Scotia. This tiny settlement on the Atlantic coast has a long history of being a fishery, but since the end of World War II, Peggys Cove has been reliant more on tourism than catching fish. Today it is known for its picturesque coastal beauty. Set amidst its sparse rocky coastline with the Atlantic stretching out from it as far as the eye can see, Peggys Cove is a postcard-perfect fishing village. 1. Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario. Quaint colonial buildings. Niagara Falls, there's a reason why Niagara-on-the-Lake is nicknamed the loveliest town in Canada. Known from the late 18th century as Butlersburg, then as West Niagara, it was a haven for pro-loyalists fleeing the United States in the wake of the American Revolution. From April to November the town puts on the Shaw Festival, a theatrical event featuring plays from George Bernard Shaw, among others.